بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اليوم نكمل موضوع النيماتود بعد ما أخذنا السكارس والانتروبياس والترايكورا. اليوم ناخذ الهوك وورم أو الديدان الشصية. There are two species of hookworm for human infection, هي Glistoma duodenale and the Necator american. The Glistoma duodenale from the name Inglo mean hook and stoma mean mouth. The Glistoma duodenale described by the Tobin in 1834 in Italy, and the life cycle of the worm discovered by the Lewis in the 1889 in the Egypt. The Necator american described by the Steels in the Texas of USA 1902. The Necator american actually originated in Africa and transported to the American with the slave trade. انتقلت من أفريقيا إلى أمريكا عن طريق الهجرة وتجارة العبيد. The name of the Necator american newly, which called the New World hookworm, and the Glistoma duodenale, which called Old World hookworm. The hookworm disease worldwide distribution, mainly in the tropical and subtropical area. In the developed and developing country, more than أكثر من 900 مليون إنسان مصابون بالهوكورم, and more than 180 ألف liter of the blood in each day lost by the infection by Glistoma duodenale and the Necator american. The epidemiology of the hookworm and Glistoma duodenale found mainly in the Mediterranean coast of the Europe and Africa, and in the India and China and Japan, while Necator american found in the Central and South America and Central and South Africa. هذه الصورة تبين باللون الأحمر هي الإنجلستوما ديودينالي، تكون موجودة بالمنطقة شمال أفريقيا وجنوب أوروبا وتشاينا وجابان and إنديا. نيكاتور أمريكان نشوفها بالسنترال and South America and Central and South Africa وتكون باللون الأصفر. مثل ما قلنا الهوكورم commonly in the tropical and subtropical area, or mainly in the rural area, where the people defecate in the soil or use the feces as fertilizer directly. The hookworm infection due to migration of the people between the country. See the Glistoma duodenale and the Necator american in the same area in the South India and South Africa and America. The habitat of Glistoma duodenale in the small intestine, mainly in the jejunum and the duodenum. Morphology: the adult worm تكون small in size, elongated, cylindrical, pale to pink in color or white to greenish in color, but may appear reddish to brown in color due to ingestion of the blood. The body of the adult worm تكون curved, with the dorsal aspect concave and the ventral aspect تكون convex. The mouth is not at the tip but directed dorsally. The mouth part, which contain two pair of the hook-like teeth ventrally and two dental plate dorsally. The anterior end is bended in the same direction of the general curvature of the body, which give C-shape or single curve, even give the shape of the hook-like appearance. شو هذه الصورة؟ التيث تبين two pair of teeth تبين ventrally and one pair dorsally. The male of the hookworm تكون the male smaller than the female. السايز ماله من 8 to 10 millimeter in length and 0.4 millimeter thick. The posterior end of the male تكون expand into copulatory bursa, which consists of 3 lobes, 1 dorsal and 2 lateral lobe. Each lobe supported by fleshy rays, 5 rays each in the lateral lobe and 3 in the dorsal lobe. The total تكون 13 rays in the adult male. The arrangement of the rays help to distinguish between the different species of the hookworm. The rectum and the genital canal open within the copulatory bursa in the male. There are 2 long rectile bristle-like copulatory bursa, the tip of which project from the copulatory bursa. شو هذه الصورة؟ هذه الكوبيولاتري برسا هاي العريضة، وعندنا بالجهة اليسار عندنا الميل والفيميل اوف انجلوستوما ديودينالي. هذه الصورة الثانية عندنا البرسا ميل وفيميل، والدايجرام مال الميل والفيميل هي الماوث بارت اسوفيغاس نشوف بالميل and copulatory spicule and copulatory bursa، وبالفيميل نشوف الماوث بارت الاسوفيغاس نشوف الفالفا opening and the anal opening. The adult female of hookworm female تكون larger than the male, size from 10 to 13 millimeter in length and 0.6 millimeter thick. The posterior end of the female تكون rounded which with subterminal anus situated ventrally. The vulva open ventrally at the junction of the middle and the posterior third of the body. The vagina of the adult female lead to 2 ovarian tube which occupy the posterior and middle part of the worm. The six are easily differentiated by the size and shape and the posterior end of the position of the genital opening. The female like a gravid female lying around من 15,000 إلى 20,000 egg per day and from من 20 إلى 50 مليون egg during its life. هاي نفس الصورة مال adult female mouth part, esophagus, vulva and the anal opening. عندنا the differentiation between the male or female adult worm. عندنا male and female هذا المخطط. عندنا نبدي بالسايز. الميل يكون smaller than the female. الميل قلنا من 8 إلى 11 مليمتر اللينث، بينما الفيميل من 10 إلى 13 مليمتر اللينث. عندنا الكوبيولاتري برسا present in the male and absent in the female. Genital opening in the male open with the anus، بينما بالفيميل opening at the junction of the middle and the posterior third of the body. The posterior end in the male تكون expanded like the umbrella، بينما posterior end in the female تكون tapering. هذه الصورة نشوف بالجهة اليسار هو الماوث بارت اوف انجلوستوما ديودينالي. نشوف ال 2 pair of the teeth and 1 pair in the dorsal aspect of the mouth part. بالرايت سايد هي الماوث بارت اوف نيكاتور mouth part of the Necator american. هذه الصورة عندنا هي الادلت وورم، باخذ لها صورة بالانتستينال ميوكوزا، تبين بالانتستينال ميوكوزا قلنا هي موجودة الهابيتات مالها in the small intestine mainly in the jejunum. نجي على النيكاتور امريكان بعد ما خلصنا اللي انجلوستوما ديودينالي. عندنا النيكاتور امريكان المورفولوجي مالها the adult worm of the نيكاتور امريكان in general تكون smaller than the انجلوستوما ديودينالي. عندنا الميل من 7 إلى 9 ملم length and 0.3 ملم thick، بينما الفيميل تكون السايز مالها من 10 to 11 ملم length and 0.4 ملم تكون thick. The anterior end of the Necator american is bended in the direction opposite to the general curvature of the body, which give S-shape or double curve. بينما كنا بالانجلوستوما ديودينالي تكون in the same direction of the curvature of the body، واللي تعطي S-shape C-shape، بينما نيكاتور امريكان تعطي S-shape. Two ventral بالمouth part of the نيكاتور امريكان عندنا two ventral and two dorsal cutting plate in the mouth part. The female of the Necator american, the vulva is placed in the middle of the body. The egg and the life cycle of the Necator american is similar to the life cycle and the egg of the Angiostoma duodenale. هاي الصورة نشوف الديفرنس between Angiostoma duodenale and the Necator american. Angiostoma duodenale تكون بالجهة اليسرى، نشوفها ميل وفيميل تكون اس شيب، بينما نيكاتور امريكان بالجهة اليمين تكون دبل كيرف اس شيب، بينما انجلوستوما ديودينالي سي شيب. The egg of the hookworm for انجلوستوما ديودينالي and the Necator american the same، تكون oval rounded measurement about 60 micron diameter، تكون colorless not pilostene surrounded by the thin transparent shell membrane، تكون floated in the saturated salt solution. The egg when released by the worm in the intestine, the egg contain insegmented ovum. During pass down into the intestine, the ovum develop in the feces. The egg, which contains segmented ovum, usually with 4 to 8 blastomere. There is a clear space between the segment ovum and the egg shell. هاي بالصورة تبين هذا السيجمنتد اوفم، تكون عددها مثل ما قلنا من 4 إلى 8 بلاستومير، وهذا سبيس ولا هذا الأوتر شيل. Morphology: there is no difference between the egg of Angiostoma duodenale and the Necator american. The gravid female lying about من 15,000 إلى 20,000 egg per day and more than 20 million during its life. هذا الصور الegg of the Angiostoma duodenale in the outer shell and segmented ovum which contain 4 to 8 blastomere, and there is space between the shell and the segmented ovum. نيجي على المورفولوجي of filariform larvae اللي هي الانفكتيف ستيج of the Angiostoma duodenale، تكون elongated cylindrical measurement about 0.5 to 0.7 millimeter، تكون motile. The mouth is closed. The esophagus present in the anterior third of the body. The tail تكون blunt. نشوف هنا الجدول ينطينا الديفرنس between the filariform larvae and of the Necator american and filariform larvae of the Angiostoma duodenale. يجي على السايز تكون Angiostoma duodenale larger than filariform larva of Necator american. هاي 720 وهاي 660 مايكرون in the length. الهيد تكون بالنيكاتور امريكان راوندد، بينما بالانجلوستوما ديوتينالي تكون كونيكال. ماوث بارت يكون بالانجلوستوما ديوتينالي شورت لارج اليومن، بينما بالنيكاتور امريكان تكون لارج with short اليومن. الشيث تكون prominent striation بالنيكاتور امريكان، بينما find in striation in the angiostoma duodenale. نجي على intestine. There is no gap between the esophagus and the intestine for Angiostoma duodenale، بينما بالنيكاتور امريكان نشوف gap present between the esophagus and the intestine. The posterior end of the intestine there is no retractile body in the Necator american، بينما موجودة بالانجلوستوما duodenale. Esophageal part تكون prominent in the Necator american، بينما not prominent in the Angiostoma duodenale. التيل for Necator american تكون short and pointed، بينما بالانجلوستوما duodenale تكون long and blunt tail. هذا الجدول يبين الديفرنس between two species of the hookworm اللي هي Angiostoma duodenale and the Necator american. يبدي من السايز for Angiostoma duodenale تكون larger and thicker than Necator american، تكون small and cylinder. الشيب الهيد bent to the same direction of the body، بينما الهيد بالنيكاتور امريكان تكون to opposite direction of the body. البوكال كبسول for Angiostoma duodenale two pair of the teeth ventrally and two dorsal teeth dorsally. بالنيكاتور امريكان two ventral and two dorsal cutting blade. Copulatory bursa for Angiostoma duodenale 13 rays, 2 separate spicule, dorsal ray single، بينما بالنيكاتور امريكان 14 rays، 2 spicule fused at the tip، dorsal ray تكون split. Caudal spine in the female تكون present in the Angiostoma duodenale، absent in the Necator american. Valval opening in the Angiostoma duodenale situated behind the middle of the body، بينما بالنيكاتور american situated in the anterior to middle part of the body. الباثوجينيسيس تكون more severe in the Angiostoma duodenale، بينما بالنيكاتور american تكون less. الإيج for Angiostoma duodenale and Necator american is the same. The second and the first and second stage larval stage تكون similar in the Angiostoma duodenale and the Necator american. The egg per day for Angiostoma duodenale تكون من 15 إلى 20 egg per day، بينما بالنيكاتور أمريكان عدد الإيج من 6000 إلى 11000 egg per day. The development in the Angiostoma duodenale تكون faster، بينما بالنيكاتور أمريكان تكون slow. The pulmonary reaction يكون more severe in the Angiostoma duodenale، تكون less common in the Necator american. Blood loss per worm for Angiostoma duodenale تكون loss about 0.2 ml per day، بينما بالنيكاتور أمريكان 0.03 ml per day. The life span بالانجلستوما duodenale من 2 to 7 years بينما بالنيكاتور أمريكا من 4 to 20 years. هذه الشريحة يبين the Hillmouth which required no intermediate host. In general تدفع بالMCQ بالshort quiz عندنا the Hillmouth no which required no intermediate host. عندنا أول وحدة اللي هي الانجلستوما duodenale, نيكاتورا أمريكان, سكارس and Trichoris trichura, Enterobius vermicularis and the H. nana. نيجي على اللايف سايكل of the hookworm. عندنا the life cycle of the hookworm which need only single host. The definite host of the hookworm هو الhuman being, هو only natural host for hookworm. There is no intermediate host for hookworm. The infective stage هي third stage filariform larvae. The habitat مثل ما قلنا of the hookworm هي small intestine mainly in the jejunum. The egg of the hookworm immediately pass the feces تكون not infected for the human being but in the soil with good environmental condition تكون warm or moist sandy soil. The embryo develop inside the egg in about 2 days. The egg after that hatching into rhabdatiform larva يكون السايز مالها about 250 micron in diameter. The rhabdatiform larvae feeding on the bacteria and the material present in the soil, which increase in size and molt wisely on the 3rd and the 5th days. The rhabdatiform larvae develop into filariform larvae اللي هي تكون larger in size, يكون حجمها من 500 إلى 600 مايكرون in length. تكون filariform larvae no feeding واللي هي infective stage of the hookworm. The filariform larvae can live in the soil for about 4 weeks with awaiting the host for infection. The filariform larvae can be killed by the direct sunlight, drying, and the salt water. The filariform larvae هي تكون motile which penetrate the skin and subcutaneous tissue between the two, dorsum of the foot and the skin of the hand. The larva enter the circulation after penetration of the skin, enter the circulation and reach to the heart, then from the heart to the lung, from the lung to the trachea and to the pharynx. During this migration, the larva reach to the esophagus and then undergo to the third molting inside the intestine and to fourth molting, then develop into adult worm and develop in the male and female in the small intestine mainly مثل ما قلنا in the jejunum. The life cycle of the hookworm takes about 6 weeks from time of infection to become adult worm. Rarely the oral route infection by ingestion of the filariform larvae enter the circulation, or the larvae may be swallowed and develop to adult worm in the small intestine without tissue phase. يعني ما تصل على الهارت مباشرة develop to adult worm in the small intestine by ingestion. Breastfeeding and transplacental transmission may be occur in the Angiostoma duodenale but not occur for Necator america. عندنا الصورة هي توضح اللايف سايكل of the Angiostoma duodenale مثل ما قلنا بالأعلى هي موجودة المان هو definitive host، وعندنا السويل develop of the egg in the soil، عندنا الادلت worm in the small intestine مثل ما قلنا mainly the jejunum، male and female fertilization and the egg pass with the stool immediately مثل ما قلنا ال egg تكون insegmented and in the soil develop the egg in the feces and become in the soil. In the soil the egg developed within 1 to 2 days, become segmented, and the egg hatching into rhabdatiform larvae, and the rhabdatiform larvae feeding on the bacteria and the material in the soil develop and increase in size and develop into filariform larvae اللي هي تكون motile اللي هي infective stage of the Angiosperma duodenale. The filariform larvae which penetrate the skin and subcutaneous tissue of the human being مثل ما قلنا between the two dorsum of the hand and the feet. After penetration of the skin reach to the circulation and reach to the heart, right side of the heart, and from right side of the heart reach to the lung, from the lung reach to the pharynx and swallow again and develop into adult worm of the small intestine, and life cycle repeated again. هذا اللايف cycle كلها from the penetration of the skin to develop adult worm of the small intestine which need about 6 weeks. هذه نفس اللايف cycle of the Angiosperma duodenale. يعني الصورة عندنا male و female in the small intestine موجودة male و female in the small intestine mainly in the jejunum. Leg pass with a stool. Leg will develop in the soil and hatching into rhabdatiform larvae, and rhabdatiform larvae develop into filariform larvae اللي هي infective stage for Angiosperma duodenale. Filariform larvae which penetrated the skin between the two and the foot and the hand reach the circulation into the right side of the heart and into the lung and to the trachea and to the pharynx and swallow again and develop into adult worm, male and female, and repeated the life cycle of the Angiosperma duodenale. مثل ما حكينا هاي كلها من فترة penetration of the filariform larvae the skin to develop to adult worm need about 6 weeks life cycle. نجي على pathogenesis and the clinical picture of the hookworm infection. The major pathological changes is caused by the adult worm or by the larval stage. The pathological changes caused by the adult worm of the hookworm occur by the blood loss caused by the heavy and chronic infection. With this worm lead to macrocytic hypochromic anemia, and it also loss of the protein lead to hypoproteinemia and the edema. In the early phase manifestation, patient present with low-grade fever, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and abdominal pain, and iron deficiency anemia and hypoalbuminemia. The infection with the hookworm in the children is associated with the desire to eat the soil and other unusual substance. الأطفال المصابين بالانجلوستوما duodenale يعني نيكاتورا أمريكان لهم الرغبة بأن يأكلون يأكلون التراب و other substance. The pathological changes due to the larval stage, the infective filariform larvae at the site of the penetration of the skin lead to local irritation and itching with secondary bacterial infection. the migration of the large number of the larvae in the lung, which lead to fever, cough, dyspnea, pharyngitis, hemoptysis, are the most important symptom for penetration of the larva of the lung. نجي على هذا المخطط. عندنا الكلينيكال بيكتشر of the hookworm infection. عندنا due to مثل ما قلنا due to the adult worm or due to the larval stage of the hookworm infection. نجي على الكلينيكال بيكتشر due to adult worm. Adult worm infection, the disease it's responsible for the hookworm disease, adult worm. The adult worm sucking blood leading to hypochromic microcytic anemia. Patient with the hookworm, adult worm, develop with epigastric pain, dyspepsia, vomiting, diarrhea, and the stool become reddish to black in color due to presence of the blood in the stool. Sign and symptom of the adult worm infection: patient presented with anemia, dyspnea, palpitation, and edema. Severe hookworm anemia commonly lead to cardiac failure. And second manifestation or clinical manifestation of the hookworm due to the larval stage of the hookworm. Patient present with the ground itching when the filariform larvae enter the skin, lead to severe local itching, and erythematous papular rash develop later on and become vesicule. This occurs when the large number of the larvae which penetrated the skin. The ground itching more common in the infection with the Necator american than with Angiostoma duodenale. Self-limiting occur of this condition within 2 to 4 weeks. Second presentation, patient present with a cutaneous larval migration. It is a condition in which the filariform larvae pass the skin or penetrated the skin and produce the reddish itching papule along the pathway of the penetration of the skin by the filariform larvae. This occurs more common in the infection with the animal hookworm than infection with the human hookworm. The respiratory manifestation due to the larval migration of the hookworm occur when the larva pass into the lung, which penetrate in the alveoli and rupture of the capillary of the alveoli and enter to the alveoli to the bronchiole and to the bronchus and to the trachea, which lead to manifestation of the bronchitis, bronchopneumonia, and rarely patient with hookworm infection presented with Loeffler syndrome can be seen. هذه أهم الكلينيكال manifestation of the hookworm infection. نجي على causes of the anemia in the hookworm infection in general. ليش تصير الأنيميا in the patient with the hookworm infection? due to أولا blood sucking by the parasite for feeding. هذا التيث يسوي injury to the intestinal mucosa and sucking their blood, and some of the blood pass with the stool come out. ولهذا من النفح حصل الستول يكون الستول be blood. Chronic hemorrhage from the injury of the intestinal mucosa by the teeth of the hookworm or by blade the Necator american. And the third, due to malabsorption of the vitamin B12 and the folic acid. And fourth, due to depression of the homeostatic system of deficiency of the intake of or malabsorption of the protein intake. The average of the blood loss by the hookworm infection per day per worm انجلستوما duodenale مثل ما حكينا اللوس بها 0.2 ميل per day per worm، بينما بالنيكاتور أمريكان اللوس مالها 0.03 ميل per day per worm. ولهذا يكون اللوس of the blood بالانجلستوما duodenale more than اللوس بالبلاد بالنيكاتور أمريكان. نيجي على laboratory diagnosis of the hookworm. عندنا direct method and indirect method. نيجي على direct method. أولا هي stool examination, can see the egg in the feces by direct wet mouth or by concentration method or by duodenal aspiration or by demonstration of the adult worm in the feces or by duodenal aspiration also, or by stool culture, by special culture can see the hookworm filariform larvae in the stool culture. The indirect method عندنا chest X-ray help when the filariform larvae which penetrate the lung. The chest X-ray may be helpful, and stool examination to demonstrate the presence of the blood in the stool due to مثل ما حكينا due to injury of the intestinal mucosa by the teeth of the hookworm تسوي جرح بالintestinal mucosa and pass the blood with the stool. Blood examination very important. She can see the hypochromic microcytic anemia and can see eosinophilia. نيجي على treatment of the hookworm. عندنا الالبندازول 400 ملغ single dose or ببندازول 500 ملغ single dose. بارينتال باميت 10 ملغ per kg for 3 days is also effective and can be used in the pregnancy. هذا الدواء safe in the pregnant woman. If the patient suffer from anemia, oral iron can be given, and anti-helminth drug should not be used before correcting the anemia. High protein diet should be given for the patient with hookworm infection. Prevention, very important. Prevention of the soil pollution with the feces and the proper disposal of the night soil. Use of the footwear to prevent entry of the larva through the skin of the foot. نستخدم الأحذية حتى نمنع دخول الفيلاريفورم larvae عن طريق the skin of the foot, or نستخدم الglove which gives similar protection to the hand mainly in the farmer, الناس اللي يشتغلون بديهم بالحدائق وبالمزارع. أيضا treatment of the patient and the carrier of the hookworm infection. عندنا آخر شيء هو other species of angiostoma which infected the animal or zoonotic disease which called Angiostoma brasiliensis. This species, other species which infect the cat and the dog mainly, and sometimes can infect the human being. This infection will lead to more larval migration or more irritation than the intestinal infection. Other Angiostoma species, Angiostoma selenium, which infect the cat and wild feline in the Southeast Asia, but can infect the human being. The other Trichostrongylus species, which affect the sheep, cattle, can also cause the human being infection. The adult worm, which attached to intestinal mucosa, will be sucking the blood and live for the long time. Infection mostly asymptomatic. Patient presented with epigastric pain, anemia, eosinophilia occur in the massive infection. The egg of this parasite pass in the stool, similar to the egg of the hookworm, but it goes larger in size with more pointed end and show the greater segmented. السيجمنت تكون عددها من 16 إلى 32 بلاستومير، بينما بالإنجلوستوما ديودينالي عددها قلنا من 4 إلى 8 بلاستومير. Treatment metronidazole is effective for the treatment of the zoonotic disease.